As you can see here, I got a lot of stuff, right? And as the title says, I got it for about 325, well, not about, exactly $325. Hopefully, I didn't make a mistake and wasted $325. I don't think so. So I'll be right back. You're an enthusiast, or
No, just I've had them, my kids had them.
okay? Original DDR. It's immaculate. It's an old GPU, but it's immaculate.
This is what it is when YouTubers show up.
I've seen what.
Monster. I know where you live, right?
Yeah.
I guess I better pay you some money, huh? Pull around and I'll back up and make it easier for you. So some of the things that you might not be able to readily see is there's a whole box of fans right here. These are some mechanical hard drives right there. There's a giant 200 millimeter fan right there. A big old Zalman CPU cooler right here. There's another fan right here. There's a 1 terabyte external drive right here. There's several CPUs over here. And behind me, as you probably saw in the thumbnail, there's 6 PCs. There's 3 24-inch monitors or 23-inch monitors. There's a 32 or 36-inch TV, I can't remember which. I bought all this stuff a little while ago. I just hadn't had the time to make a video about it yet, and I still got to go through all of this stuff and figure out what their values are. If there's any history of this stuff being sold on eBay, I can get a pretty good gauge of what everything's worth. I think at the very worst case scenario, I'll probably break even, but the best case scenario, I'll make a profit and maybe even be able to use some of this stuff. Now, you know, looking at this stuff, a lot of it is fairly aged, but at the same time, people still look for some of this stuff, you know, so you never know who's looking for what until you put it online and see if somebody wants to buy it from you, right? So we'll see. Right, I'm back. So I took a look at everything, and it took a little bit longer because I got distracted with some other stuff, and so this continued on into the next day for me to research most of the parts. And so the good news is I'll put that list right up there, and the stuff that I was able to price out came out to be about $765 worth of stuff. And apparently I was right in the assumption that, you know, some people are looking for stuff like this. I used the sold indicator on eBay and did an average price as far as what the values are for each item. And so that's what that list is all about. All right. And the better news is that end value of those parts does not include these 6 PCs. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to power each one of these on, see if they're in working order, and then possibly figure out what their values are. We'll figure that out once we figure out what we really have in these 6 PCs. Ran into our first issue, which is the first PC doesn't have a power supply. All right, so luckily I happen to have an old 450 watt power supply from a used PC that I had already repurposed. And as you can see here, we got a DVI ports, which luckily I happen to have ADVI cable. Ooh, it did not like that. Turned right off. And we're going to remove this hard drive cage. Well, it's in my way. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove all the RAM in case it's one of the sticks. And it looks like we're at, this is DDR3. Let me see if I've got an extra stick in my box of RAM. Might not have any DDR3. And all my other sticks are DDR4, DDR5. So I'm just going to take a random stick and we're going to try to power it again. Doesn't look like the CPU fan's coming on, which is a little, no, it's not coming on because it's not plugged in. Don't see any other headers to plug this fan in, which might be why it's not plugged in. So the CPU fan is not plugged into the motherboard, so it's not getting any power. So the only fan that's getting power is this back fan right here, and that's plugged in right there. So we're going to remove that and put the CPU fan on. Okay, it's not liking that, so let's try the next RAM stick. Try the next stick. No. Which indicates that it's not the RAM, especially if all four sticks turn out this way. Let's check our power supply. Make sure the power supply is good. All right, power supply seems to be reading fine. Let's take off the graphics card. Let's see what we get there. And then it looks like you have some screws right here covering that. Of course, we don't know if the CPU that's in there has an integrated GPU, but we're about to find out. Nope. Wonder if we've got a bad CPU or motherboard. For the sake of time, we're going to put this one off to the side for our future troubleshooting, maybe later in this video. But we've got 5 other PCs that we got to try to power on and see what happens. So let's not spend more time on this one just yet. Okay, we're off to a roaring start. Oh no. Here we got a VGA only. And I think I've got a VGA cord, and this one's powering itself off. All right then. All right, well, I guess we're gonna have to troubleshoot this one at a future date. So let's move on to the next one. If this keeps up this way, we might have to take a loss on the PCs themselves. This one does not have a GPU. Disk boot failure. Might be that there's no hard drive or the drive was wiped. Looks like we've got an Athlon XP 3200 for CPU. We have no hard drive. That's why it wouldn't boot up. And we have 512 megs of DDR RAM. So this thing is old as sin. BIOS version was 21 years ago, February 9th, 2004. All right, so this thing's practically useless, but you never know, somebody might want to pick it up for like 25, 50 bucks. We're gonna call that one worth 25 bucks. Let's see if we can bat 500 here. It's an MSI V-Class motherboard. This might be missing a hard drive as well. Yeah, no hard drive installed. Intel Celeron E3400. So we are batting 500 as far as working PCs go. This one probably similar to the other one, not worth more than 25, 50 bucks, so we'll call it 25. This one as well does not have a GPU on it. This one as well, no hard drive on it. The CPU is a AMD Sempron 3000 Plus. So 3 out of 5 so far in working order. Just no boot drives on any of these. So the guy that I bought it from must have removed all the hard drives for all of these. Maybe he moved them over to other PCs. All right, let's see if we can get 4 out of 6, which would be batting 666, right? I think, right? Is that right? 66. Looks like we've got an AMD Athlon 2 X2, and again, no hard drive installed. And this one, again, probably not worth more than like 25 or 50 bucks. So we're gonna call all 4 at 25 that are working, and maybe we get another 20 to 25 out of those other 2 after we figure everything out on it. So at most we're looking at $150 more, probably closer to about like maybe another 50 to 100 bucks. So let's just split the difference and say it's 75 bucks. So at 765, which was everything else, plus the 75, now we're looking at 840. I spent 325, right? And so that takes me at 515 profit, which is, it's not bad, but the amount of work that would go into these versus their values, it's not really worth it unless you're into this kind of stuff like I am. But yeah, it's not for everybody. You have to enjoy doing this kind of stuff for it to make any sense. Otherwise, you know, what's the point? You just, the time you spend is probably worth more than the money you would make. Now we're gonna tear apart those other 2 PCs and see what we've got really in there for hardware. And I forgot to mention that the PCs that I tested, the monitor I used was one of the monitors I picked up, which helped me obviously to verify that that monitor was in good working condition, which it is. And it's actually practically new as far as the condition goes. Trying to find the wattage. Looks like it's a 250 watt power supply, which is, I mean, other than for a PC like this, it's practically worthless. All right, well, let's take the RAM out. And this is original DDR, which is practically worthless. This is a 20 pin connector instead of a 24 pin. It being a 250 watt stands to reason. And we're gonna take out this GPU and see what we got here. It's got the old style release thing. And I'm not sure what card this is. It's an HP card. All right, well, let's take off the CPU cooler. And that thermal paste is bone dry. I got these clean room wipes. You don't want to get fibers in there, right? And so the alternative was what I usually use is coffee filters. But if you use like cotton swabs and stuff like that, or rags, which some people use, I prefer not to. Better safe than sorry. So I'll use either a coffee filter or these clean wipes that I just got, which are non-fibrous. These are clean room wipes. It's got a bit of a tongue twister. Maybe it's just me. Don't judge. This is an Intel CPU. It's a little hard to read. I'm going to need a magnifier. This is an Intel Celeron D. Hopefully it's the motherboard that's the problem and not the CPU, because the CPU is probably worth more than the motherboard. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, why not put a different CPU from one of the working PCs into here and see if it works. That would be for somewhere down the road if I decide that I want to sell these parts. I might just recycle them because they're just not worth a whole lot, and so that's what I might end up doing. The motherboard is a P5LP-LE. I am not familiar with that motherboard. All right, well, that's that one. All right. This, I believe, was DDR3 RAM. Yeah, which could come in handy. There are still some PCs out there that are still going strong that use DDR3. Right, so let's take out the GPU and see if we can make heads or tails of it. HD 487X, 1 gigabyte DDR2. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that logo. I'll look up that model, that HD 487X. There we go. And that thermal paste is also bone dry. That looks like an AMD CPU. It's a Phenom 2. You might be asking yourself, well, what about the CD drives and DVD drives? Those things are worthless. Nobody wants them. That's what I've found on at least Facebook Marketplace, which, honestly is kind of a microcosm of eBay. So yeah, I'd be running myself ragged trying to sell those things. So I mean, they're going for like $10 at Best Buy, brand new. So who's going to buy these? Really, the GPUs are probably not worth a whole lot. The DDR2 RAM is certainly not worth a lot. The Celeron's probably not worth a lot. The Phenom 2, I could probably get like $10, $15, maybe $20 for it. The DDR3, I could probably get like 10 or 15 bucks for that, but I might hold on to that. I think they're 2 gig sticks. Yeah. And so I might hold on to these for future diagnostic work on some older gen PCs that still use DDR3. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've got a couple of heat sinks that could probably go for about $5 or $10. So all in, we're probably talking maximum another $30 to $50. We'll call it 30. So now I'm at $870, right, total. And so at 870 minus 325 gives me $5.45 of profit, potentially. Again, like I said, this stuff isn't for everybody because the amount of time you would spend selling this stuff, cleaning it and selling it and testing it and all that stuff. Unless you enjoy this stuff, it's not worth it. But if you do enjoy this stuff, you know, there's plenty of old PCs out there that people are just letting sit and rot and doing nothing. And so then why not, you know, get some of these parts and put them on eBay and have them find a home where somebody can find some use out of them, right? Other than that, they're just sitting around doing nothing or, you know, taking up space at the landfills. So yeah, not many good alternatives. I don't know if I'll ever do something like this again. It's really gonna depend on you guys and what you think of this video. Honestly, I wasn't even sure whether or not I was going to film this and put this on my channel because I wasn't sure if there were very many people that would be interested in watching a video about me taking apart some old PCs and figuring out their value. But you guys be the judge. You tell me down in the comments below or hit that like and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. And you tell me if you like this kind of stuff, and if I get enough people liking it, then you know, I might look into doing more stuff like this. Hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for joining me, and hope to see you in the next one.